Welcome to my Father's house. It is Sunday morning. I am Joseph McGee, Robert Joseph McGee, and I am here in my Father's house. And today is the 28th day of the month of June. That's today. And I'm here in my Father's house. The gospel of the kingdom. I'm not interested in any other gospel. I'm interested in one gospel. I'm interested in one faith. I'm interested in one Lord. One baptism. One faith, one Lord, one baptism. And things are the way they are because they are. Do you follow that? Is that too deep? I am Bob McGee. My name is Joseph. I am the preacher at my Father's house. If you come to this house, you can speak. You can. But you're not the Lord of this house. You know why? Because I am. This is my Father's house. And this is where God told me that I should be and that I should preach. It's what God told me. So if you come tell me otherwise, you know what my reply and response will be. Really? God told you to tell me. I will ask you, do you think God can't tell me what he wants me to know? Do you think God can't tell me what he wants you to know? I think God can. I really do. And I am here. I wish there were 3 or 4 prophets here. I do. There's nobody here today but me. I am in my Father's house, and I'm making this known to anyone who sees or hears. Why should I preach? So that you can hear and understand. If you can't hear and understand, then it is really fruitless. In other words, not a whole lot will be accomplished. But if I don't tell you what you need to know, certainly nothing will be accomplished. I wish there were here today with me in my Father's house 4 or 5 prophets today. I heard a man say, I really don't like prophets. I don't like false prophets. But I hadn't got anything against a prophet of God. Now, if that prophet of God decides, to go wrong, and some prophets of God have decided to go wrong. They have. I am here, and I'm in my Father's house, and I'm interested in the gospel of the kingdom. Since there are no other prophets here today or apostles, then the only one that's going to be speaking is me. Since I'm the only one here, I am the one who will speak. I am. God said, I am who I am. That's what God said. God made that known a long time ago. And I have a Bible, and I can tell you what God said. And you can't change it. Neither can I. I cannot change what God said. Could I? This shirt was on a hanger, and you can see where the hanger, it didn't dry. It's not ironed. It's not pressed. But it says, or it has on the front, I guess you might have to read backwards. I don't know. There's one Father, one Jesus, there's one me, and there's one you. And God made from one. Jesus hasn't made from any. Do you understand what I said? God has made from one. Jesus has not made any. He's not going to take credit for making me. Just like I'm not going to have it take credit for making you. There was a command given years ago to some people who spent time with Jesus. You can call them apostles. 12 of them. One, Judas, hung himself after betraying or turning over Jesus to some authorities. That's what he did. For 30 pieces of silver. That's what he got. He never spent. He never purchased anything with the money that he had been awarded to hand over Jesus. He didn't have that money too long, but he had that money in a bag, the 30 pieces of silver. He took the money back, threw it at them, and then killed himself. That money could not be taken back into the treasury. They were not going to take that money and put it back into the treasury. You could call that blood money. Because it was that money that he took and he betrayed Jesus. And Jesus said, do you know what he said? It would be better if that man had never been born. That's what he said. And he was right. It would have been better had he never been born. But that's not the case. He was born, he lived, and he died. And they took the money and purchased. In other words, the money did not go back into what it had been taken from. And they found a piece of ground and purchased it with that 30 pieces of silver. Read about it. That happened years ago. I can't take you to that field. But it became a burial place. For those who did not have a place to bury their dead. There was a place purchased by Abraham, a field with a cave. Do you know what a cave is? Surely you do. There's no water in a cave. There's no dirt in a cave. A cave is either carved out or cut out by man, or it could be cut out by God. I can take my truck out of the driveway, drive west, and I'll come to New Mexico. And if I go to the right place in New Mexico, I can go to what's called Carlsbad Caverns. Carlsbad, New Mexico. And there I can go into the ground and see what God did. Because no man made that cavern. Man has gone into it. Man has done some work in it. Man has put some things in it. And it's beautiful. to see what God made. And it's all under the ground. Carlsbad. It's in New Mexico. Caverns. People found them, but people didn't make it. It was God who created the heavens and the earth. And he had no assistant. None. God is sufficient in and of himself. That's why he said to Moses, I am who I am. That's what he said to Moses. He said that years ago. Moses did not know what God had planned for him. But God knew. Years before Moses was born, that there would be some people in Egypt that were going to be brought out. They had come in because of a famine, a terrible famine. And Joseph had a dream. God made it known what was going to take place, revealed it to Joseph. Sure did. You can read about it. It's in the history book. Joseph got to the place he was, and God got done what he had made known to Joseph when he was young. His family bowed to him because God had been with him and put him in a position underneath the king. And when things were said and done, Joseph had purchased for the king everything that could be bought. And Joseph stayed in his position under Pharaoh, and his family was given some very good land for raising animals. It was suitable. But there was some land called the Promised Land. Moses brought those people out. Joseph never saw Moses. But Joseph made it known. The words were, the day will come, and when that day comes, I want you to take my bones out of here. And guess what they did? When that day came, Joseph's bones did not stay in Egypt. What are you saying? Repent, for the kingdom of heaven is at hand. The days are numbered. And at the end of a certain number of days, something is going to happen. An age will end and another will begin. Jesus of Nazareth was born to be a king. He's going to be the king. He is. And his kingdom will have no end. Jesus, the man, the descendant of David, the promised one, God's only begotten Son, born of a woman. That's right. The only way that you can be is you will have to have been born. Adam took Eve and she bore children. God saw to it. He did. And when God blessed Noah, it wasn't God that put the curse on Canaan. It was Noah. That's who it was. It wasn't God that blessed the sons at the end of Genesis. Although it was Jacob brought his sons together and made known to them what their future would be. Will you be worthy? Those who are worthy will rule with Jesus here.